Welcome back everybody. Today I'm doing a special. The Division has just come out and I wanted to do a first impressions video, so I'm just going to let this showreel run. This has been captured via the NVIDIA Shadowplay system. So you can see I'm just looking around at the moment and I'm just getting a feel for how the game plays. I've completed the tutorial section by this stage, so anybody who's been in the beta knows exactly where I am, and I'm really just looking around and enjoying the scenery. And I've got to tell you, I think The Division is easily one of the best looking games of this type that I've ever seen or played. The ambience is absolutely perfect and it's a very enjoyable experience just to walk around and have fun within the game. The visual fidelity is extremely high. I've not actually got this set to the maximum settings. This is a few notches below that, so I'm not using the NVIDIA high anti-aliasing stuff which you can put in, but other than that it's pretty much running at max. I'm looking around here looking at different vendors. I was actually looking around when I first started for a vendor specifically to do with in-game rewards, because I have the gold edition, but also I got some rewards via the Ubisoft store using some Ubisoft credits I had left over from playing Assassin's Creed. So I was really looking for that, but I'm just exploring the vendors here and looking about what we've got, how the system works.
Come on back next
so
time.
Hopefully I shall move on quickly from here, looking at all the different things that he can equip. And we've got some different body armor there, so he's taken that. And you'll notice that I have a rather neat little silencer on a Police M4. Now I got that during the training tutorial section that's set in Brooklyn, and very happy with it. It's a very high powered M4. The DPS seems to go up with every single level that is played. And just a notation on how the game looks in terms of presentation. As seems to be fairly common with Ubisoft titles in general, the polish in terms of the presentation, how it looks, how it feels, it's really first class. Really only Ubisoft to do this absolutely spot on. The only other games I've seen that come even close to that level are the Dead Space series, which I still think is one of the high watermarks of third-person shooter land. I'm also a bit of a horror fan, as my friends will know, so that kind of game really works for me, as does this one. The setting of this obviously is post-apocalypse, set in New York City, and just looking around, you can see the attention to detail, the level of polish on the map there. It's just extraordinary. The mix, if you like, is Watch Dogs with elements of Rainbow Six, with elements of Mass Effect. Really, just the best bits of absolutely everything that's happened in terms of third-person shooters and third-person RPGs. And a note on that, this is most definitely an RPG. What it isn't is a thick-headed shooter like Gears of War, which is really just a run-and-gun kind of game. Yes, okay, you need to be outflanked and all that kind of thing. But this really does feel quite much more visceral, and I'm hoping you shall see that fairly soon in this video, as we move out of the hub area. Now this hub area is very much like a non-instanced area. When you move into the world, you sort of move in and out of instanced areas. It's all seamless, you don't even notice that it's happening. But this particular area is a social hub, so you can meet up with your friends and buddies in this area, as well as meeting up with them down in the real world, if you like. But this is a quiet place, no shootings going on, there's no enemies in this area, so it's just a peaceful section. And you really start the game here. The tutorial is really very good, and I strongly recommend that you pay attention because it's absolutely awesome. But after we leave this area and we complete one mission, you end up with a different base of operations. So you're not likely to come back here that often other than to meet up with friends or to utilise the vendors. I don't actually know whether the vendors here are better or worse than the ones that you get within the operations area, but you certainly have got a wide selection of stuff that you can purchase. And again, just looking at the polish of these menus, they really are beautiful. It's a really nice environment to work within. Anybody familiar with Ubisoft titles will be familiar with this kind of interface. It's sort of how Assassin's Creed looks outside of the game proper, but also looks a little bit similar to things like the Grid, with the way that you have things that are superimposed over the environment, and it's really just extremely nice to work with. You can see I'm making sure I've got a decent suppressor on my M4 there. Now the suppressor doesn't really give you proper stealth. Obviously when you shoot into a group of people, they know that something's happening because one of their buddies' heads got blown off. But as you'll see, it does help in some other situations. Now I've actually sort of gone ahead and thought, well, I want my character to be more of a medic kind of character, so I'm already moving down that line. Obviously later in the game that's going to become more important when we have squad dynamics going on. I'm hoping my buddies will be joining me in this game fairly soon. And you can see now I'm moving from the staging area into the real world, and the moment I walk into the real world you'll see that the gun goes up into his arms there. So now we're into the real world, as it were. We're away from the social hub, and I'm going to go off and do my first side quest, I'm guessing. Let's see which one I pick. I can't quite remember what I did. I think I messed around with some side quests here to begin with, until I found one that was just too difficult for me to continue with. And I needed some more levels really, and some better equipment. Just look at that attention to detail there. It really is quite extraordinary. I know that people these days think it's quite trendy to say that graphics don't make the game, and there is an element of that. Gameplay is really important, obviously. In fact, gameplay is more important than anything else. But that said, if a game looks like dog shit, you're not going to want to play it for long, even if it has got great compelling gameplay. Minecraft is probably a notable exception, but personally I only play Minecraft if I can put on a decent graphics pack. I can't play Minecraft using the base graphics. It just looks, well, like dog shit. But look at this. This is real artistry going on here. There's no procedural generation here. This is all being done by hand. Every frame is like a painting, and it's a disturbing painting of that. We move up to this ambulance or secure vehicle there. Just look at the way the birds fly around. There's crows everywhere because there's so many dead bodies and so much rubbish all strewn throughout the entire city. Just looking around it, you have to be in awe of the graphic artists who've put this game together. And I'm about to do my first encounter here, so we've got two looters, obviously either looting a corpse or having killed someone. They're now rather dead. And if you played Gears of War, you get this same kind of cover-to-cover dynamic which is going on as you move from place to place to give you protection. And there are some liberties taken with reality, such as hiding behind the side of a car door and having a very high caliber weapon opening up on you, and instead of you being shredded in half, which is what would happen in reality, you obviously survive and the car acts as a perfect bulletproof vest, which in reality it wouldn't. The higher the caliber the weapon, the more likely it is just to shred straight through. But here we go. I'm going from cover to cover. I'm going to be taking out these guys now. And one of the nice things about the game system is it rewards you for flanking manoeuvres. In one of the sections later on in the game, I was outflanking. Here we go. There's an outflank about to happen. We've got a guy there, but we were right on the rear of these two. Now I can unleash hell and they're straight down. Yeah, they're bullet sponges, and I hear a lot of criticism about the game having bullet sponges, but this isn't a role-playing game. If there were one-shot kills, it would stop being a role-playing game, wouldn't it, really? There's lots of different tricks you can use to take them out quite quickly, as long as you hit on the head. Frankly, they don't last long. And I'm playing with keyboard and mouse, as you can probably tell from the CTRL, which is popping up there, which is a link over to the thing I'm hiding behind. Now this guy is a major bullet sponge because he's wearing assault armour, but he's also the leader of the pack here. But I do make short work of him with my M4. Just reload him there. Bring my sights up. There we go again. You can see I'm being very, very accurate on my shot placement, and that's the benefit of the keyboard and mouse. I'm not so certain it would work quite as well without the keyboard and mouse. I will try it with the Steam controller before I publish a full review. But at the moment I'm very happy with the keyboard and mouse layout, and I suspect I will keep it. It's the kind of game I suspect I'm not going to play in front of my main TV in the front room. It's going to be the kind of game where I'm going to want lots of voice comms. So I need my microphone and headset and everything else to make sure that all my buddies are in place. And also say a note about the map size. I've heard a lot of people criticising the map size, saying it's too small. Bear in mind the level of detail we have here, and also the fact that things like Madison Square Garden are fully fleshed out and fully rendered out. There's a level of detail here, and there's a subterranean element to the city as well. You can go underground into the sewers in some places. So there's a verticality going on within the map, which I don't think people are really fully appreciating. Plus, well, frankly, we're on foot the whole time. It's going to be a real strain if you had a map the size of, let's say, DayZ's Cenarius map in this game. It wouldn't really work, because we're dealing with levels of detail which that map just can't possibly have. And the larger the map size, the more memory you need. So the fact that they've managed to create something that looks as spectacular as this is really quite extraordinary, considering it will still work on consoles. There's my pet gripe, if you like. I've got 16 gigs of memory. I wish this game could make use of full 16 gigs of memory, and I hope it later on perhaps we'll get a update making that even better and giving us bigger map sizes. But at the moment I don't particularly think it's that small. Yes, it's early days of me playing the game. I've played less than 10 hours so far, but it's a very, very interesting and beautiful game. So I think on the whole, my first impression conclusion has to be that this is a game you really should think about buying. You may not want to invest the whole hog with the season pass and the gold edition and pay the £75 I think that is on Steam, which is quite crazy. Shop around the usual places like CD Keys, G2A.com, and you find a CD key much cheaper than that, which can either be activated on Uplay and on Steam. And just a note about that, I think this is the first game since Uplay has been released where I've thought to myself, you know what, Uplay really works very well. They've upgraded Uplay significantly, and frankly it's no longer a load of shit. It does work. And again, I know there's been a lot of reviews on Steam especially where people haven't been able to connect. All I can tell you is my own experience. The release date was brought forward. At least release time was brought forward as well. So instead of being 5 AM this morning, it went live at 11 o'clock yesterday. That's GMT. and it took a good hour for the game to unpack. So I was playing just before midnight, and I didn't really have much of a problem. There was one server dropout which lasted about 5 minutes, and then after that it was solid. There's been no problems with latency, no problems with lag, so I guess I'm thinking that maybe there was a problem in one part of the States, and that's the reason why you're seeing so many bad reviews which basically say I don't connect, there is nothing here, and Uplay's a load of shit. And I've been one of those voices in the past, but this time, for me at least, this was a faultless release. I don't remember a game of this magnitude and this number of people wanting to play it. It's number 3 in the Steam charts right now, which is unprecedented. Very rare indeed that you get a game that isn't a Valve game that doesn't sit up the top there. We're talking Dota 2 and Counter-Strike Global Offensive being 1 and 2. So this is third to those 2 massive games. I'm sure that will drop over time, but it's testament to the fact that it's incredibly popular already. There must be millions of people trying to connect to the servers, and for me at least, I saw no degradation. And I feel sorry for those that had the degradation and weren't able to get on when they wanted to, but at the same time, putting a bad review on something just because at day 1 it wasn't available and it's an online game, pretty much like an MMO, is really rather stupid. So you can ignore those reviews. Okay, I shall wrap things up now, and I hope that I shall put a review together properly over the coming weeks. I want to give it at least 20 to 30 hours of gameplay before I start to actually give a review, as is my nature. And I want to get very heavily into the dark zones and play with some buddies and see how it all hangs together towards what a lot of people are calling the end game.
Readings indicate an echo nearby.
Well, I'll go into that in the review. I don't believe there is such a thing as an end game. But for now, that's all I really want to say. Get the game if you can, and just make sure you don't spend too much money. I don't think you're going to regret it. And take care now. Till next time.